many of you have ever been on a first date? How many of you have ever told your friends about that first date? You know, you went out with your buddies the next night and told them all about the girl that you did or did not, well, you know. Or if you went out with this guy and you got together with your girlfriends and just, oh, his nose was too big, or he sputtered when he laughed, or whatever. We've talked about these other people. I mean, we do that all the time, don't we? Do we not? We constantly talk about other people, and it doesn't necessarily mean we're talking about them badly. We just talk about other people. All right, on the scale of 1 to 0, how often do you keep the secrets that people share with you? Let's say, for instance, you're married, and you haven't seen your sister for a while. And she comes in, and you start talking, and you're catching up on old times, and the next thing you know, you're both talking about your spouses. And sometimes those kinds of conversations can get very intimate and very detailed. And your husband or your wife trusts you to not ever share anything outside your bedroom. What you're talking to your sister or your brother about. And you're not meaning to be nasty, it's just what you do when you're with your sisters or your friends. You talk about the people in your lives. Not judging you for it. Like St. Paul said, I've sinned at that worse than all of you. But I want you to find a number on that scale as to how often you keep your mouth shut about things that come into your life, about people who trust you, and how often you share them with anyone else, for any reason, for any justification. Got a number? Good. Okay, so why am I having you do, oh, by the way, if you've done any of that, take another chink out of that diamond. So why am I sharing, why am I asking you to do all this? And here's the thing, you know, in church, whether it's this church, or an evangelical church, or a Catholic church, or any church, one of the big emphases, or emphases, however you want to say that, emphasis is the actual correct word, one of the biggest emphases is about trusting who? God. Trusting Christ. Trusting Allah, or whoever you happen to hold as your deity out here someplace. So that no matter what happens in the world, as Japan almost goes under with an earthquake, or Joplin, Missouri is leveled by a tornado, or Katrina hits Louisiana, or somebody rolls a Pinto. No matter what happens, we are told it's God's will. We must trust that every single thing that happens in our lives is according to the will of God. Do we trust that?
No.
Do we believe that?
No.
Most of us do not, at least in this kind of congregation. So, what do we trust then when we're talking about, especially in New Thought? What are we trusting when we say trust Spirit? What are we trusting? The only thing that we can measure that by is how trustworthy we are. How trustworthy we are. Because you know, what you put forth is what you get back. You want to see a trustworthy universe? Walk in the universe as a trustworthy person.